follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss along with Paulie Howard. We are live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Very busy 3-hour program lined up today. Pro sports bettor Aaron Renning on the NBA playoffs coming up in 30 minutes. Jeff Seeley, Best Bets PGA Tour this week. Jonathan Davis on the NHL. And the owner and CEO of this great property, Derek Stevens, in studio coming up a little bit later on. We will unpack what happened last night in the sports betting world, get into tonight's action, updated series prices, a Major League Baseball card with one game in action, or a bunch of player props a little bit later on as well. Now, I'm talking about just from a pure entertainment standpoint last night and drama. I think last night may have been the best night so far of the entire playoffs combined. With what we had and how they unfolded and how the Maple Leafs now, and that place was rocking and rolling all night last night, but the final couple minutes, it was your typical NHL playoff game. It was unbelievable adrenaline. And then what happened for both dogs to come back in the NBA and win like they did? I mean, I saw a chart, and I retweeted this last night right after the game. The win probability for OKC was teetering between like 70 and almost like 95% for almost the entire game. Agree or disagree with what kind of a model that was, but they completely gave that one away. More on that in a second. And I guess, I said this yesterday when Paul Bovey was in, right? He was making the case for the Knicks. I said, I think if the Celtics shoot 50-plus threes per game, in the series or beyond, that's when you're going to like the chances going against them, because they might have a game where they hit 25, but they might have 3 games where they hit 15 or 16. And that was just completely silly last night, what they did.
Yep.
And my gut tells me that they're going to watch the film of that game and say, okay, they're going to go down next time. We'll hit them, so we'll keep chucking threes.
Yeah, specifically what Tatum did or didn't do in the fourth quarter. That he scored 2 points, took 7 shots, and 6 of them were threes.
Yeah.
How many of them were just tight defense, a hand in his face, a guy all over him, and it's a step-back three? It's like, that is a bad shot.
It's terrible
what are you
basketball,
doing?
Paul.
But Celtic fans and guys who cover the league will tell you this. For a great team, they are the worst. Like, the worst position to be in is when they're up 20. They quit playing and they fall asleep. And it's happened over and that's right too. Over and over and over again. So the Knicks were 25-1 in play. As bad as Boston played and they set the playoff record for missed threes. They still were up 20 in the third quarter, and you didn't have Porzingis in the second half. And it was just an implosion. I mean, just to fall asleep like that and to take that many threes. What was it? 34 of the first 40 shots coming out of the halftime were 3-pointers? I don't understand. I think it's poor coaching. I think what OKC was ridiculous as well, which I'll get to coming up. I don't understand it. Where if you're wide open, okay. But just get to the basket, get to the rim. Cat's in foul trouble. I just think it's silly, settling, and dumb.
People can fall back on the whole analytical approach. Well, 3's better than 2. I don't care in this spot. It's terrible basketball.
They're not going in, though.
There's
That's
no
the
way.
thing.
Right. There's no, I don't even, if they are, Paul. I'm just talking about in terms of watching the game and thinking that's a great style of basketball. Unless you have 5 Steph Currys, there isn't a single human being that can convince me that style of basketball last night is good basketball. It's not. It's stupid. And so more numbers here. Jason Timpf on X. So they generated, you can make the case for, this continuing or maybe it flipping, and I'll do that right here. Jason Timpf on X. Boston generated 25 unguarded catch-and-shoot threes out of 60 attempts. They made 7. So they shot 7 of 32, 22%, when the closest defender was between 4 and 6 feet away. That's an open shot. They were 35% in the regular season. They shot 7 of 24, 29.5% on completely wide open threes last night. 41% in the regular season. But here's the problem with that in the rub. They took 35 contested and off-dribble threes last night in the game. Mm-hmm. That's to your point.
Yeah, and it's a tie game late, and they're still taking threes every trip down. And they're not open. A lot of those weren't open, and Tatum had made horrible decisions. So, Brian Mahoney, who's on tomorrow, was at the game for the Associated Press, and he said the Knicks better get this one. Boston will never shoot like this again, which he's probably right. But still, the other takeaway is Boston was killing them as bad as they shot from 3. And then they Knicks made the big run at the end of the third quarter and what transpired. And it's just March Madness has now come to the NBA, where if you bet the dog in game 1, all game 1, Your $100 money line parlay paid $8,500. It's crazy. And then you see OKC and Boston come right back 11-point favorites in game 2.
How about that? The tax is already just completely juiced into this next game. They're going to bounce back.
Right.
It's been a thing so far in the playoffs. There's no way the home team is going to lose. Okay.
Well, Boston will, but OKC, if Joker is going to get the benefit of the call, he was in foul trouble, but if he's just going to come in and lower his shoulder and also just push everyone away with that off arm and get away with murder and just going to take you down low and go to work on you, it's going to be tough because what if the others hit shots and they're going to be wide open?
So, we talked about this yesterday. Essentially, to me, in order for Denver to have a chance to win this series, they only play 6 guys, right? Like serious minutes. That's it. I said all 6 guys are going to have to play high-level basketball. Well, that was not the case last night. 5 did, but the 6th guy did not. Michael Porter was useless, and they still won the game. Mm-hmm. He played 24 minutes, scored 2 points. He was minus 15 in the plus-minus. Also, there is this for Denver. They had a 41.5% offensive rebounding rate. They killed the Thunder on the glass, 63-43. They had 18 turnovers. Oklahoma City had 9. Oklahoma City had 12 steals to 6 and 11 blocks to 5, and they lost the game. What was your biggest problem down the stretch?
Oh, God.
I know that it was the obvious answer is going to be what everybody's been saying since last night, and I disagree. I think there was something a little bit under the surface that really came back to bite him in the ass.
They're up 9 with 2:40, and SGA fouls Joker at the opponent's three-point line. Caruso also had a foul in the backcourt, right, which was silly. And then I don't understand that early fouling up 3 with 13 and 11 seconds left, one of which Joker was at the scorer's table. I agree with Kenny Smith. It puts added pressure on you because then you have to make your free throws. You have to call timeouts. You have to get the ball inbounds. If you have the best defense in the league, if you get one stop, the game's over. I don't understand doing that, which I like to foul up 3. With 5, 6, 4 seconds left, not 13.
Right away, yeah. And by the way,
it was dumb, and then he misses both free throws.
Right,
and then he doesn't get back on defense, and Gordon hits the dagger.
Well, okay. So if they hit a 3, rather than OKC fouling, Joker still can't even get into the game because they have no timeouts. So it's going to be Oklahoma City ball, and the only way Joker gets back into the game is if they call timeout there. But what you said, Chet hits, here's a question. And to me, it's the most egregious thing that happened last night.
Why'd you give it to him?
How in the hell do they inbounds the basketball to Chet Holmgren?
Yeah.
You have the MVP sitting there all year long who's unbelievable. How do you not get SGA the ball on the inbounds play? And he absolutely has to go to the free throw line in that situation.
Yeah, I agree.
And you inbounds it to Chet. How is there no chatter telling the players, hey guys, remember, we got the best player, second best, whatever. He's going to be the MVP. SGA has to get the ball in his hands. Get it to him. Pretty obvious, right? Mm-hmm. Nope. They get it to Holmgren.
Yep. How bad those possessions were down the stretch?
Oh, they just completely meltdown,
right? It's also like, Williams is 5 of 20. It's not your night. Give it to the MVP.
Sure.
Your comeback is Joker had 42 and 22. Will he do that again? But it's an all-time choke and collapse, though. And I'd like to see the Chalk get there, and I'd like to see Boston play OKC or OKC play the Cavs for the title. But that's just I can't stand choke jobs like that. And that's just that's unacceptable. What happened to be up 9 with 2:40 and you stop playing offense, you commit 2 stupid fouls, and then you're fouling. Degno after the game said that's what we do. We do it all year with 13 seconds
immediately. By the way,
it defeats the whole purpose of what you're doing.
Yeah, right. They did
do it late. Get a stop. You have the number 1 defense. The game's over then.
You can also maybe try for a steal there for a second. Like let maybe 1 or 2 seconds come off the clock. You don't have to rush over and foul and put him at the free throw line as soon as they inbounds the basketball. I thought that was maybe a little bit of a bizarre part to do with that as well. Although I still think they're going to rebound and win the series.
Well, this really makes a mess of the futures now. What it really does to the futures market is wild. The series prices and also who's going to win each conference and who's going to win it all now. Because Boston's still $3.40 to win the series, but you're never going to find a better price on the Celtics to win the East now, which is like $1.10, $1.15. And the Cavs have the biggest game of the season tonight. That might be down 3 guys.
Right. So
that's
here's
another
the thing.
one with the future markets wide open now.
I've been kicking this around since last night with multiple people. The idea of now parlaying all 3 teams that lost game 1 to come back and win their series. Cleveland, Boston, and Oklahoma City. I'm confident enough to do that with Oklahoma City and Boston. I don't know. I'm looking at the official NBA injury report as of right now. And to your point, 3 key guys are still questionable for the Cavaliers tonight. Maybe they play. Maybe 2 guys play. Maybe 2 guys miss. I don't know. But without a combination of those 3 guys, I don't love their chances to win the game tonight. I don't care that they're 7.5-point favorites right now. I don't know if they're going to win.
Yeah.
So I can't get there with the Cavaliers. We'll kick that around maybe a little bit more in 2 hours when I think we'll have a better idea of who's going to play in the game tonight.
Right. Because if they don't have Hunter, Mobley, and Garland, even if he plays compromised, not good.
Yeah.
Speaking of being compromised, and you hit it off the top. You get the big performance by Toronto. I don't know. Does Stolars play the rest of the series?
He vomited right away.
Yeah. The guy's still in the game.
Boy,
the doctors on social media were like, get him to the ER stat. Get that guy out of there. That's as bad as that's an all-time concussion, what happened. He also took a shot to the mask that knocked the mask off, too. And whether it was intentional by Bennett, I don't know. It didn't look good. But now the fact that the guy's got to be taken out in a stretcher to the ambulance, I don't even know if the guy plays the rest of the series.
And if he doesn't, I think that's kind of cooked in here. Even with the Maple Leafs winning Game 1, it's basically a pick-em now.
Yeah, Wall did not give you a lot of confidence when he came in there. They had to hang on for dear life.
If you told me right now that he's going to be the goalie for the rest of the series and I could find plus money on the Panthers to win it, it would be an auto play. I think there's a pretty decent upgrade from Wall going to Stolars.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. How does he come back and play? And like anytime soon anyway, maybe back into the series if it goes 6-7 games. But next game or two, that was vicious, man.
Yeah. Horrible job by the league, too, and the spotters. Oh, that's unfortunate. You got to see that. That guy's out of it, and he comes and pukes on the bench.
Up next, we will dive into the playoff games on the board tonight. Heavy steam, big line movement on the board. We'll tell you what it is coming up next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
High drama last night, NBA and the NHL playoffs, and professional sports bettor Aaron Renning joins the program now as he is on the progressive guest line. He is big into the association. Aaron, thanks for the time as always. How are you today?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on, and always better to come talk about. We get some underdogs and some just different things happening. We're not quite used to the NBA playoffs.
Yeah, well said. Mm-hmm. Last night was absolutely bonkers. So then where are you at today after both home favorites blew those games last night, and they're each laying 11 points now in Game 2?
Yeah, it's kind of the zigzag at work, and as I kind of mentioned, traditionally, you get these home favorites in the first game of a series, a decent favorite by about 7 or more. And if they get beat that second game, they've come back and traditionally crushed in recent history. So that's why you're seeing all that play. Obviously, what's expected to be the superior team in those two. But, with the Knicks, it's, the first thing I thought about the Knicks is, against Detroit, they just don't have a lot of athleticism outside Anunoby. But, boy, you can see the skill in the shot making. And, for Denver, they're going to have the best player on the floor.
Can he get 42 and 22 again? That's the other thing. Although you were waiting for him to foul out as well. I think a big part about this is how are they going to officiate him moving forward?
It was. It was a little bit bizarre last night. You saw, maybe some fouls go not in Oklahoma City's way in their half court, and then you had those crazy fouls 3/4 court away from the basket.
Yeah.
Against Oklahoma City that really cost them. But yeah, for the Celtics to have a 20-point lead and obviously the Thunder a 14-point lead, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, no kidding. ER, you've talked about this before, betting a team around the world, which means like first quarter, first half for the game. Would that be a consideration with these home favorites in Game 2?
Yeah, again, it's they kind of changed the number a little bit, and they've done obviously a very good job of kind of putting that in play. With the Thunder, 11 in the game, 7 in the first half, et cetera, kind of how it is. But hey, look, traditionally that's the way it is. Oklahoma City certainly one of the stronger home courts, and it's very much a kind of a home court series. So, but that's I have to say that again about the Thunder, and that's always the question here. We know it's a great regular season team, but hey guys, I was at T-Mobile when they played the Bucks out here in the championship midseason tournament.
Yeah,
super impressed with the Thunder defensively, but again, it's just Giannis was the best player on the court that night, and maybe we'll see that this series with Joker.
That's a fair point, and I hate to do cliches, but they don't know how to win yet. And until they can win that big game and that big series, you have to question them. And that implosion up 9 with 2:40 absolutely cannot happen. So it's worked for the first time in like 20 years. It's been very good in the playoffs. Would you back the zigzag tonight?
I did. I mean, I'll be on Cleveland here to some extent. I also I did kind of bet them. It's certainly not the best number here all along, but I've really liked this Cleveland team all season long. I thought the Atkinson hire was great. Mm-hmm. I think they've been prepping and they've been trying different stuff in the regular season, zone defense. It's just a lot of different things to be ready here. Obviously, the injuries are pretty massive concerns, especially with Mobley. I don't think they miss Garland quite as much, but Mobley's obviously a big factor. But I would expect Cleveland to come out. I expect them to get the spread cover, yeah.
Okay, so if we get news here in the next hour or so that, let's say, all three guys are going to play, the point spread goes back up, are you going to be betting Cleveland again?
Yeah, I mean, again, just kind of taking a little bit of the best number. Yeah, you don't know. It doesn't sound that promising, to be honest. These guys are certainly all three going to play. So, yeah, it seems like maybe you're better off waiting.
Okay, how about the other game then? Game one. And it's funny the way that this is flipped now, because when you just look at a place like ESPN, they had a bunch of their experts, quote unquote, online everybody picked the Lakers against the Wolves to win the series, and most of them picked them in 5 or 6 games. Did not go that way. It was almost domination there by the Wolves. And now they have home court here against the Warriors with all their pedigree, but yet everybody at ESPN is picking Minnesota to win this series. It's a complete flip-flop of what it was in the first series. What do you make all that?
Oh, I mean, it's really fascinating that, so many picked the Lakers, and I thought the Lakers wouldn't have that much of an issue as well. I didn't make them a $2 favorite, but I thought they would go on and win the series. But you can see it's always just hard for a team to essentially obtain their best player at the All-Star break and go on and have a great season. It's hard to do that anyway. But yeah, so it's just such a bad spot here for Golden State in game one. Obviously a little bit tougher than Denver had with the game in Houston, which was a slugfest of a series. So, a couple interesting things with this series. Minnesota, will they be able to overwhelm the Warriors from a athletic standpoint? That's always this Gobert question. We saw Houston have success with the double bigs, a little bit of that zone defense. Right. So, again, hard to recommend Minnesota at a 2-1 favorite at this point. I do like them and bet them in game one, but I expect another hard-fought close series.
Do you know anyone with big tickets to win the conference on Minnesota? And do you know anyone who jumped in on Denver after they fired Malone, which I thought was a mistake, but apparently he lost a locker room, and there were some big odds available on Denver?
Oh, Mitch Moss is the only one that I know with a big Minnesota future ticket, but I did hear some guys, maybe more so doing sports betting in Denver when the coach was fired, that they stepped in at 55, 60 to 1, something like that on the Nuggets, which, obviously looking back and, it's still a large part of their championship team. I mean, it's kind of that big four that they still have, the best player in the NBA. So, yeah, certainly a puncher's chance with that team.
Okay. How about any updated series prices now? After 3 series, have 1 game in the books. Did anything catch your eye now? Do you want to come back and maybe fire on some of these favorites to win in 6 games or lay a game and a half or anything like that?
Interesting. I was actually just kind of pondering that before I came on the show with you guys. So, yeah, thinking about it, I'm certainly interested in the Cavaliers tonight, certainly $2 or less. Again, kind of see what the injury situation here, if it's bleak or not. But so I think the Cleveland at, less than $2, still hard to lay, $3 on the Celtics or the Thunder for me.
Well, you're a Bucks guy from the state like I am. And I can hear you almost laughing in the background already. If they actually kick the can on trading Giannis, have you thought about it yet? What would you need in return if they got rid of that guy?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a shame, but it seems like push is maybe coming to shove here. I mean, to be to be bluntly honest, I can't believe that they re-signed their GM to let him make any kind of decision. That guy has done one of the worst jobs I've ever seen. But I think it'll be interesting if he would, maybe New York has the firepower, but it's you hear maybe Oklahoma City or San Antonio. I mean, just who knows at this point? But yeah, it's going to be a lot of talk for sure.
Already are. Pleasure talking to you as always. Yeah. Good luck tonight. Enjoy the games.
Hey, same to you. Good to be on with you guys. Thanks.
Yep. Great to talk to you.
There you go.
That is wild, those tickets on Denver. I thought they lost their minds. It didn't work out for Memphis, but to fire your coach with a week left in the season, big tickets out there, big odds available on Denver. Who knows? Maybe OKC takes them out in 6, but choke job as well. But when you have the best player, anything's possible. You're not going to get a better price on the Celtics to win the title or the East, assuming the Cavs win tonight. I mean, that's to get plus 210 to win the title now, or $1.15 to win the East. So that's staring you in the face after they blow a 20-point lead.
I need to know which team's going to show up. Again, if they shoot 53s a game, I want nothing to do with them.
Take it seriously. They do much of that for 3 years. They just, I don't know what it is. And it's just the people who cover the team and the fans just can't believe it. They go up 20. I've never seen a team that good blow that many big leads on a consistent basis.
Yep. So Tatum and Brown are so freaking good at playing basketball when they don't take threes. That's the last thing I want them to do. And what they do last night, Brown was 1 of 10 or 1 of 11, and Tatum was 4 of 15.
And his only make was late, Brown. That's right.
Oh, they keep settling for that crap. Guys, you're so much better than that.
That's why you have White and Horford. That's all they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just attack the basket. Good things will happen. Especially when you're going to take a contested shot, a step back, and you don't even have any room.
And again, Tatum went to the free throw line 10-plus times in the last 3 games against the Magic. Be that guy.
Yeah. Who's breaking that record? Who's gonna miss 45 threes again?
They might tonight or tomorrow night, whenever they play again next.
Oh, God. Become a VSiN Pro subscriber today. Stay connected to the action wherever you go with the VSiN Watch app. Available on your phone, tablet, smart TV. 24/7 live access to the audio and video streams. Replays of your favorite shows. Big screen streaming straight to your smart TV. Quick access to clips by sport tailored to your interest. Watch VSiN anywhere. Download the app today. Get now with the VSiN Watch app.
All right, up next, win some, lose some. Paulie will tell you about a slew of huge numbers that cashed last night. That's next on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Welcome in. Action Pack Hour coming up. The owner, CEO of Circa Las Vegas, Derek Stevens, on the program coming up in 30 minutes. Here we begin the hour talking NHL playoffs as VSiN's NHL betting analyst Jonathan Davis joins the program now. His write-ups are daily on the site, vsin.com. You can follow him on X. He is at West Coast HKY. Jonathan, good afternoon. How are you today?
I'm doing great, guys. It's been just a great run here in the Cup, and I've got my Canada Olympic jersey here, and hey, they got a shot to finally win a Cup. Yeah, we got 3 teams left.
Yeah? Okay, we'll get into that coming up in a minute. Mm-hmm. So the one Canadian team that played already, that was last night, the Maple Leafs, got the job done in Game 1. Awesome finish to that game. However, they did it late without their starting goalie as Stolarz was hurt, and it was not pretty. Eventually, he was vomiting on the bench, and clearly that's like a sign of a major concussion. And I think that, to me, the Maple Leafs would not be bettable moving forward with Woll. I like Stolarz much more than I like Woll. Anyway, what are you hearing about him coming back to play in this game, and where are you at with the series price based on that injury?
Well, I heard that Stolarz was back with the team today, and Craig Berube did not rule him out for Game 2. I don't know how he could play Game 2, but I'm a big Joseph Woll fan. I think that, Woll for a number of years I felt was their best goalie in the organization until Stolarz came in. So I thought Woll was fine for a guy who didn't play in 18 days last night. Don't really put the blame on him for the 2 goals. But they are definitely better with Stolarz. Florida plus money right now is worth a shot.
Was that dirty? And should Bennett be suspended? Maple Leafs pointing out he has a history. Berube was livid.
I don't think he should be suspended. Here's the way I look at it. One, no one noticed it when it happened. It was about 10 minutes after the incident that Stolarz pulled himself out. You only saw it, when you see it on replay, it doesn't look great. It is sneaky dirty. But here's the thing. George Parros, who's the head of player safety and a guy that made his living dropping the mitts, he works more on the act than the result. So based upon the act, we're not even clear if it was the elbow that caused the concussion. Stolarz took a slap shot to the noggin earlier in the game. Mm-hmm. It's possible that the two combined plays, very much like what happened with Mark Scheifele in the Winnipeg St. Louis series. We're not sure which hit of the 3 or 4 that Scheifele took in the game that eventually knocked him out. So I'm fine with no suspension.
Okay. They were great in the first 2 periods. Let's say it is going to be Wall. What do you think of Florida in Game 2 and then moving forward here with the series price with Florida against Toronto?
Well, look, I went into it with Florida minus 1.5 games. So I'll stick with that. I like Florida at plus money. There's no question that the Leafs are a far different team than they've been in years past. I don't think we got the best out of Florida in game number 1. I think that they were kind of caught off guard, outshot 12-4 in the first period. I'm going to continue to target, the first period over and the full game over until there's a reason to stop. So That's generally how I'm going to approach this game. I would come back with Florida to win game 2, just because I thought at worst they would get a split, and they still have an opportunity to do so.
All right. Now look at this. Game 1 that we have tonight, Hurricanes and the Capitals. And here at Circa, Carolina's $1.35 for game 1. The series price is now $2.
Wow.
Plus 175 on the Capitals. Your thoughts on that, Jonathan?
Yeah, the Capitals definitely are the Rodney Dangerfields of the NHL. There's no question. I mean, look, all 4 games during the regular season, including the 2 in Washington between Carolina and Washington, Carolina was a favorite. They were a $1.55 favorite in both regular season games in Washington. They lost both of them. One was 5-4. One was 3-1. For me, it's Capitals or bust. It's Capitals or no play if you're going to take a side. I know, Paul, you think you were on the under in this one.
Yeah.
I like the first period over, and I like the full game over. I find that, when you've got teams that are a little rusty, both these teams have been off for a while. I think it's a little sloppy at the beginning. I think we see goals in this one. So I would target the first period over and full game over. And if you want to get creative, I know some places, will offer a same game parlay of first period over 1.5 and a full game at over 5.5 if you want to have a little bit of fun.
So Carolina was number 1 in shot attempts in 5-on-5 by a big margin and number 1 in the playoffs with time in the offensive zone. So they're so good 5-on-5 and such a good talented team. What can happen then with special teams? Because we saw what Montreal's power play did to Washington, and their kill was 13th out of 16th in the playoffs. So if I have a bad kill and Carolina scores on the power play, and we know they have the number 1 kill, and if they can't get Ovechkin going on the power play, then maybe this is a short series. Do you think about it that way?
I don't, because when you look at round 1 between the Devils and the Hurricanes, New Jersey actually outscored Carolina 10-9, 5-on-5, despite the fact that New Jersey was missing 3 of their top defensemen. The Carolina Hurricanes are really good at spending time in the opposition zone and really not doing a lot with it. So I'm not concerned about that. I look back at the regular season. The Caps, I think, were 4 for 13 on the power play against Carolina in the 4 games. They scored 2 power play goals in their final meeting between the 2. So, Carolina being a perfect, 15 or 12 for 12 on the kill against New Jersey. Mm-hmm. Yeah, New Jersey didn't have their full complement of players, so I don't take a lot of stock in that. I just think that the goaltending is better in Washington. I'll call maybe the blue line a wash, and the Capitals have more game breakers. That's the one thing that Carolina doesn't have, guys. They don't have game breakers on this team. Andrei Svechnikov led them with 5 goals in the first round. He has to do something similar to that in round number 2. But I don't think that there's an answer that Washington has, or I'm sorry, that Carolina has, guys, for Tom Wilson.
All right, so I am looking at your story today, right now at vsin.com. I just tweeted it out at Mitch Moss Radio as well. You have 12 bets on the game tonight. 12. I love it. You're a volume better. But you just mentioned Tom Wilson. You don't have a bet here on him.
I don't have a bet on him. No, that's true. But I think from a physical presence, they don't have an answer for him. Like, I'm not saying that he's going to score 2 or 3 goals. I like a guy like Connor McMichael of the Capitals. I think this is a guy that's built for the playoffs. He had 3 goals in round number 1. He's a guy that cashed his shots on goal prop in 4 of the 5 games in round number 1.
All right.
But I think that, so I just saying, look, what the hit that Tom Wilson had on Alexander Carrier in game number 4, I think it was, against Montreal, turned that series around. And so that's where I think that Wilson, will have a great effect. But yeah, volume plays, small plays, but I'm the shots on goal props. I took 2 guys lower down in the totem pole, but 2 guys that have routinely cashed that number through the playoffs. McMichael also cashed that he had, I think, at least 2 shots on goal in 3 of the 4 games against Carolina in the regular season.
All right, read his article, vsin.com. Again, first period over, game over. McMichael props, and check out all the props that he has, a plethora of them, on the game tonight, game 1, Carolina and Washington.
Paulie, no grade 8 props from Jonathan Davis.
No what?
No grade 8. He doesn't have anything on Ovechkin tonight.
I know. I couldn't believe that. I know. That was surprising. Well, you're not going to find it. You're not going to get it. So 2 years ago, Vegas wins in 6. You have a good quote here from McDavid, which we'll share coming up. But Vegas has won 42 in a row in the playoffs when they score at least 3 goals. How's Edmonton going to hold them under 3, right?
Yeah, I don't know how they do it with Calvin Pickard. I mean, look, Pickard's, won 4 straight games to knock out the LA Kings, but he gave up at least 3 goals in 3 of the 4 games. So, he's not, this guy is not the second coming of Patrick Waugh, Marty Brodeur, Mike Richter, find an outstanding goalie. He's beatable. So, look, if you like Edmonton tonight, I would even target Edmonton. I would target Vegas team total then under, go under 3. I think at BetMGM they offer an under 3. Mm-hmm. So that's what I would target with Edmonton. I just think that, Vegas is better in goal. You've got Aiden Hill, who's given up 2 goals or less in 12 of his 24 playoff starts. He's had a save percentage of over 900 in 18 of 24 starts. Better goalies there. The better blue lines in Edmonton. How are they going to shut down McDavid and Draisaitl? Paula, you talked about it earlier in the show, how Vegas struggled with Kaprizov and Boldy. But I want to remind people that when Bruce Cassidy made the adjustment in Game 5 to put Stone, Eichel, and Karlsson together, his 3 best defensive forwards, they shut down Boldy and Kaprizov. I think they held them to 2 power play points.
What did you just a crazy series against LA? So what did you like and what would cause for concern, 90 seconds left here, about what happened with Edmonton winning in 6 but being down 2-0, and the 4 wins were all comeback wins?
Well, yeah, okay, so quickly, I mean, look, LA could have easily swept that series.
That's true.
This was more about the Kings deciding to play like 9 forwards and 4.5 defensemen, and that just killed them. So, but give credit. I mean, Edmonton's depth came to the forefront in that series, and it'll help them in this series this time around because, the last 2 games for Edmonton, McDavid and Draisaitl were held to 3 assists. 2 of those assists came on an empty net goal. So the support players in Edmonton up front, guys like Evander Kane, who I know Mitch and I are both high on for shots on goal, those are guys that had a big series for Edmonton down the stretch.
Okay.
Got 12 plays on this game, too.
24 play. I love it.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
The props.
Here you go. Let's go to war.
Yep.
And by the way, again, and I pointed this out last week, and based on following Jonathan on X, you gave out, and I hit a plus 190 live bet, and I also hit a plus 488 when I tailed you just by following you on Twitter the other day.
I think it's great live props. You guys do your own in-game props for baseball and other sports, and I just think that, look, if I'm going to do it, I want to share it with people, and if I lose, I lose, but there's no hiding behind it, and you're really looking for, how the pace of the game is changing. So that's where you want to jump in on some totals live as well.
We'll continue here. Jonathan Davis, I'm going to the game tonight. I have to get his best bet on the VGK Oilers game.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We continue talking NHL playoffs. VSiN's NHL betting analyst, Jonathan Davis, on the program here. Progressive Guest Line. You can follow him on X. He's at West Coast HKY. Again, he puts out his live bets during these games as well. All right, so a friend reached out to me over the weekend and said, hey, I got tickets, games 1 and 2. He has season tickets. He's like, any interest in going? I'm like, yeah, that sounds pretty good to me, actually. So I'm going to the game tonight, game 1 here in Las Vegas. Golden Knights taking on the Oilers.
Hey, Steve.
Again, you have 12 bets on the game tonight. They're all up at vsin.com. Give me 1 or 2 that you think maybe your favorite bets that I have to make when I go to this game.
I like the first period over. I mean, you guys, addressed it 6-0. Vegas was in round number 1. I think that, it's a different. I know Edmonton was only 2-4, but I think that's more of a reflection on LA than it was Vegas. So I love the first period over. And if I had to make a second one, it's between Evander Kane over 2.5 shots on goal. I got that at plus money. Or maybe Shea Theodore over 2.5 shots as well at plus money.
Okay.
What's the highest juice you'll lay? Let's have this discussion again. Go back. We started with Adrian Kempe with the Kings because he went over 14 of 15 in playoff games against the Oilers, and he got sky high up there with the juice. How important is that half a shot or that other shot? Like, because McDavid, Draisaitl, Stone, Eichel, you're seeing like $1.90, $1.80 juice on their props.
It's tough because, look, it's going to be different this year because of the fact that it's going to be, for now, Eichel, Stone, and Karlsson on the McDavid line. I would actually look more towards Corey Perry than McDavid and Draisaitl for props because he could be the forgotten man on that line. And so I don't know. I'm going to be cautious until I need to see what happens in game 1 and how Vegas approaches it and what they can do, because it's a different beast than what Edmonton's had to face against Vegas in any other game.
Okay. And you have your Canada jersey on. Do you recommend the plus 195 to win the cup? Yeah,
because I think that Toronto has a legit shot at getting through. Put it this way, I would rank Toronto, Edmonton, and then Winnipeg because of their injuries in that order. I just think that it's easier to come out of the East than it is the West. So, Toronto's got a legit shot. Look, I had said to you guys before the playoffs, Toronto-Vegas was my prediction for the Cup final. Toronto more so on the value. But, yeah, I think it's worth a shot at plus 195.
Well, here's what you really want to happen, obviously. You want the Oilers to win their series against VGK, and then you need the Jets, the President's Trophy winning team out of Winnipeg, to beat the Stars. And what do you see now in Dallas, Paulie? Minus 170 to win the series?
Oh.
So what do you think of that number?
Well, look, I mean, Winnipeg is battered and bruised. No Mark Scheifele, it looks like, for at least game number 1. Hurt, didn't play game 6, didn't play game 7. Believe it's a concussion. In a non-contact jersey today at practice. Also, their number 1 defenseman, Josh Morrissey, who left game 1 in the first period, he was in a non-contact jersey as well today. So that would indicate that he's not going to play. That's 2 huge losses. Morrissey especially. And look, Winnipeg, prior to that miraculous comeback against Dallas, against St. Louis in game 7, they were 1-6 without Mark Scheifele in the lineup, and all 6 losses they had scored 2 goals or less. I just don't know if they can catch lightning in a bottle twice against the Dallas team that's going to get back, their best defenseman in Miro Heiskanen and their leading goal scorer in Jason Robertson. It's a very tall task for Winnipeg.
I'll tell you what, Blues future holders, right, bettors, they have to just be in a state of depression after that, because I think this was it opened up for them. They were absolutely live here.
Yeah, no, it was nauseating. I mean, phenomenal comeback. Great for the people in Winnipeg. Look, no offense, there's just not a lot to do in Winnipeg. That city needs it more than a lot of other cities. So I'm happy for them. But, yeah, look, for a guy that had St. Louis in game number 7, it was very disappointing. Yeah.
So you put me on Dallas. It's big with the Scheifele injury, and also who's coming back for Dallas, and everyone picked Colorado, and they were wrong too. But like Mitch said yesterday, these guys won the President's Trophy and had the best record, and they have home ice. So now is it too much disrespect here with the series price, and then we have to talk about, tie this into Mr. Hellebuck, which goals allowed in the final minute of a period, regular season, 4 the whole year, playoffs, 4. St. Louis team total over 6 of the 7 games. Dallas team total game 1, 2.5. He was pulled in all 3 road games. How do we attack it to fade Hellebuck and do Dallas team props as well?
Well, yeah, look, Paul, you just kind of laid it out. Dallas team total over 2.5. I mean, he gave up at least 3 goals in 6 of the 7 games. I mean, look, he exercised one demon. He got Winnipeg out of round number 1. But he got, and he got better as the game went on. I mean, look, there was many thought he was going to be pulled after they were down 2-0. But look, at the end of the day, he still gave up 3. So from a betting standpoint, and that's all we're concerned about, why not? You should be, I'd be targeting the over 2.5. And, add into the fact that they are missing their best defenseman, Josh Morrissey. So now everybody's got to move up the ladder, and play a higher role. Like Neil Pionk, their number 2 defenseman, played 43 minutes in game number 7. It was remarkable. He's never, guys are now having to take a bigger role. I just think over a long series with a Dallas team as deep as they are, the over 2.5 is the way to go. And hey, I mean, I would rather play that than a money line on Dallas. I feel much more confident in the team total over 2.5.
All right. So it's going to be Dallas and VGK then, in your opinion, to go to the Stanley Cup final?
Yeah, I think that those will be the 2 teams from the West. Yes.
Okay.
Now, the other thing, by the way, Pete DeBoer, 9-0 in game 7s. He's 0-8 in game 1.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that is wild.
How about that?
Not bad. Good info.
Yeah.
Boy,
so
is that
team
bizarre.
total, I'd rather go with.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Significant juice in some spots, but that's the way to attack it until Hellebuck can get his act together. That's a good point. There was a chance they could have pulled him right off the bat. He gets up a goal a minute into the game.
I kind of expected it, actually.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, again.
Oh.
Yeah. All right, Jonathan. Awesome. That was terrific.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the games. Good luck with the bets tonight.
Mitch, you enjoy the game. I'm very jealous. Have a great time tonight. Best place to watch hockey.
Thank you. Yep, there you go.
Good job.
He joined us on the Progressive Guest Line. And again, we talked about some of the bets. He has 12 bets on each game. Volume better. That's the way he approaches it. And he explains what he's betting. They're all up at vsin.com. He puts it out every single day.
I like Colorado. I enjoy watching them play. They're fun. I was relishing Hellebuck against Colorado.
Oh, that would have been.
Oh, my God.
Can you imagine?
What happened last year? He allowed 5, 4, 5, 4, and 6.
What do you think
they
the
lost
team
in 5?
Would the team total have been 4.5 for Colorado and playing at home? I mean, especially after if
the St. Louis thing, yeah.
Imagine in game 3 they get 7. It's like, okay, now what do we do with the team total here?
I know.
We're not making it. We can't make it 3.5.
I like this though, where it's like you're dead. You're not supposed to be here. You got a second life, second chance. No one's picking you. You had the best record in the league. You started 14-1. Okay, you got a couple injuries, but still you have home ice, and you're taking on a team that people were urinating on 2 weeks ago.
Well, I'm almost confused which team you're talking about. Not fully here, but are you talking about the Capitals or are you talking about the Jets?
About the Jets.
No, I know that, but that's the thing, right?
They're right. The series price, I know.
Carolina's $2.
What do they have? Yeah. What did Washington have? Like 116 points, whatever it was?
111.
Right? Yeah, okay,
So
111.
think about this for a second. Had the Jets lost to the Blues in regulation, and they were a massive, favorite to lose that game or a dog to win. Depends on how you want to say it. If they lost that game, Capitals had home ice throughout. That's it. Nobody had more points than them.
Yeah.
Other than Winnipeg. So, and now they're catching plus 175. They here at Circa, they take a lot of short money. They just keep taking money on Carolina. And think about this.
Well,
Jeff Davis here.
Jeff Davis is the president of the Carolina fan club. He loves them. He's sky high
That's
on
true,
that rating. But
that's probably not him just moving it because he has an opinion on it, So
they were 60 cents higher on the first round series price though than all the other places. So I would think that's what he has their power rating sky high. So, but I
you know what he opened them up here for this series? Was it $1.60?
I don't recall.
Okay.
But I think I got a shot here with Thompson. And you know about the history of Anderson and Carolina's goaltending.
Yeah.
Can you trust him in road games too?
Now, I did tail Jeff when he gave out Carolina 5-1 to win the East a couple weeks ago back with us. He said the number doesn't make any sense. We're starting to see that now as a $2 favorite here. I can't. I'm not going to come back. It's not enough money for to come back and play Washington plus 175 on the series.
Yeah.
It isn't. So
what if Davis hits the exacta? What a Stanley Cup final that
Toronto
would be.
and
Yeah.
BGK?
They must hate us. They haven't won a cup since 67. If Vegas go back.
Do you know what the crowds would be like here in Las Vegas with the amount of people traveling from Toronto?
Good point, because you're priced out.
And they would be willing to pay, for sure. Derek Stevens joins the program up next, owner of Circa Las Vegas. What were the betting results like last night with both dogs shocking the world in the NBA?